So you get there and you don't need to sign in into another app or into another solution. It's only a single sign on. You get access to and pay for everything that we have there. You get access to as many solutions that we are working every day to provide to our customers. And obviously we reward loyalty for those customers that spend the most money with us there. So that creates a lot of value.
Welcome to Business Ninjas, brought to you by WriteForMe, where you'll hear from business leaders who are out there growing their business and slaying it every day. Learn from the masters. Let's get started.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Business Ninjas. I'm here today with Alexander Guerra, Director and Head of Monetization at Baz. How are you doing today, Alexander?
I'm doing great, Andrew. I hope you're doing well. During the summer and pretty much everything good over here.
Excellent. Well, hey, I appreciate you spending some time with us today on Business Ninjas. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and about Baz.
Well, I started working in the tech industry for about 6-7 years now. I finished my master's when I was in London, and then I decided to change career pathways. I never believed or never saw myself moving into tech because it was something that I also believed it was for people programming or doing coding, right? But I moved here into a more finance position. I started working at Uber in 2017 and worked there for a little bit more than 4 years. Great experience back and forth from the US, Mexico, and South America. It was a great experience. But my background is more into revenue management tools, pricing, promotions, monetization models. So I will say it's a mix of finance with marketing, with operations in a way. So I need to be involved with many, many areas. So it's kind of like a product manager, making sure that everything that is designed for an experience, if it's a digital solution or a physical one, you need to make sure that your pricing is set in the right direction in terms of considering competitors' pricing and the cost structures that you can have on the finance side. And then obviously if customers are willing to pay for that. We can talk a little bit more about that during the conversation, but it's an exciting field in which I'm seeing a lot of efforts moving towards that, particularly in inflationary times and in this, particularly in the tech sector, where VC and private equity are kind of more hesitant on the investments that they're doing these days.
And tell us a little bit about Baz and what they do.
Baz is a super app. It's an interesting concept that is not very widely known in the US, maybe over the last few months because of Elon Musk and this idea about the everything app with the X and everything that he wants to build from finance products, payments, and social media. But it's a very popular concept, the super app concept in Southeast Asia, in China, India, and some parts of the Middle East. It's basically an app in which you can have many products, from finance products, making your payments, your everyday the bill top ups, or paying your utility services, or making sure that you're sending a remittance or something to another country. But you can also have entertainment services, social media, chats with your friends. You can make sure that you can also have access to cloud services, to other kind of experiences beyond, for instance, like e-commerce or something like that. So I think it's a mix of many things in a way, but everything is consolidated into one single app. You will say, why not different apps, right? For instance, what we have with the app, with the Google ecosystem, or with the Apple ecosystem, or the Amazon ecosystem with multiple apps. It's a different structure. It's in some countries, it's more convenient to have everything centralized because users normally tend to have low-end devices. So for them, the storage device space is very important. So there is where Baz comes. We launched this app during the summer of 2021, just after COVID. So it was, I think, a very good time in terms of digitization and banking, people that were not used to it. So we're focusing on a segment of a population that needs to be banked in a way that it wants to simplify their everyday needs. And that's where it comes. And our solution has financial products, from credit loans, from payments, from remittances, from entertainment services, video on demand. You can watch your favorite football matches, live TV in there. You can also have, we also have an e-commerce section where you can shop and do stuff, and social media features. So I think it's pretty much everything. So we want to solve as many everyday needs with one single solution, which is that Super App.
So this has only been around for a couple of years. You started after COVID. And normally I ask a question like what verticals you service. This is a consumer facing product. What sort of companies are you working with on the other side of the equation?
This is an interesting question because right now we work as an aggregator. And by aggregator, I mean that we partner with other service providers. So for instance, for financial products, we partner with Banco Azteca, which is a very popular bank for like the middle lower class. It has been a successful strategy for this bank to go with unserved segments of the market and bank them in a way to provide financial solutions like credit loans and to give them access just to simplify their everyday needs in terms of payments. So we work with them on that. And then in terms of telco, we work with one of the largest internet providers in Mexico in terms of entertainment, with the second largest media channel. So we have a lot of content from different reality shows. We have, as I mentioned, sports events and something like that people can just watch on their phones, on their tablets if they have the app. And then on the e-commerce section, we also have a partnership working with Electra, which is one of the largest retailers in Mexico. And everything working because it's part of the same holding group, but we are the owners of the digital solution, the Super App. It makes things faster because we already have the know-how from the different products, and we put everything together, and it makes things faster because we don't need to reinvent the wheel in a way. We just work with the product managers from the different teams from these companies, and we build solutions and we provide the solutions in the frictionless manner for consumers.
I typically ask what sort of problems you're solving for clients, but it sounds like you have a digital Swiss Army knife that can cover a lot of problems and issues. What are the typical problems you are solving for your clients?
It's actually challenging, because I mean, you're always going to hear from different leaders about like focus on what matters, like instead of like trying to do many things, just try to focus on those that are actually creating value for customers. And that's the most challenging effort that we're having in the Super App. Is like we started as a Super App, right? If you analyze other Super Apps in the world, for instance, Grab or Gojek, some of these companies started with like food delivery services, or they started with ride hailing, or for instance, WeChat that started as a social media app or something. And then they started diversifying into different businesses until they created a Super App. In our case, we started as a Super App. It's a very similar case with India with Tata Neu that started also launching their Super App a year and so ago. So this is the most challenging part. Why are we focusing? And then the monetization role comes into play, because we need to focus on particularly those verticals that are the ones that we can provide the highest frequency of usage on the app, but at the same time that we can monetize the most in the short term or so. So we have different verticals in which we are monetizing within the same product lines that we have here. And that's what makes us this like an everyday challenging task, in which we're focusing on credit loans because it's like these interesting profit lanes that are over there, but we're also focusing on advertising because we also have huge margins there. So it's just changing every day, but it has to be on solving specific needs post-COVID and things that customers are more exploring solutions in the market for.
And is this a subscription-based app, or is this a free app and there are other means of monetization through its usage?
So far, it's a free app. For instance, if you go to the e-commerce section, the marketplace section, you can buy from like bikes or TVs or even like motorbikes or something. I mean, there are many products there. And obviously, you cash in your wallet, and then you can pay for them, or you can pay with your credit card now. But obviously, we have different lines in which we are monetizing this business. The first has to be with the payment fees, the take rates that we have. Every transaction that we make, we obviously have a service fee in which we use that as part of the most important take rates, every commission that we have from that. The second important one is about advertising, as you may expect. Since we have entertainment services like content of different sides, we obviously have app networks in which we partner with. And then we have mid-rolls and pre-rolls that appear there. So we also monetize that in a way. I forgot to mention, but we also have video games. We have a small snacks games in which we have partnership with Google and with other providers. So we also have monetization from the advertising that we get in there. So everything on commissions, everything on advertising are important lines of business in which we profit the most. And we are obviously exploring as many other ones. For instance, like we're right now working designing subscription model in which we also can charge customers, but it has to be at the right timing, right? If we analyze how DoorDash or how Uber Eats or how other of these what I call transaction platforms, which kind of like the segment in which we are, you bring a subscription in a specific timing in which customers are fully aware or mostly aware of the value prop. So we're moving towards that direction. Once we have figured out what are the features that customers value the most, we're going to design some packages, we're going to design some subscriptions, and that will be another line in which we're going to be monetizing in the near term. I would say those are the most important ones, but there are obviously other ones that come from partnerships with third parties. Some of them, they actually give us access to promotions or something in which we can give cashbacks to customers. So we have also created a marketplace in which we give the opportunity to small, medium-sized businesses to also deliver promotions into a segment in which customers can pay. So yeah, I think it's very diversified, but those are the most important.
And are you intending to expand into the United States and have more of a presence here?
Yeah, good question. So we have projects about Central America, and obviously there's one of the newest sections that we released a few months ago is about remittances. Yes. So to answer your question, yes, an app in the first, let's say the first products to launch is about like obviously sending money abroad from there. So yes, this is in our plans. So far, we do it directly with like you working with Western Union or MoneyGram from the US sending to other parts of the world. But eventually, with an app, we're gonna make that easier. So yeah, we're working on that. It's a good question, and then as you can imagine, it has a lot of efforts. But the most important part is we obviously have the know-how from the bank, so we know how to kind of like go to specific customer segments and move forward from that.
Excellent. And what differentiates you the most from any of these other super apps that are out there?
I think it has to be about convenience, right? And this is why we go for a specific customer segment, which is those that don't want to complicate their life too much, downloading a lot of apps. I just want to have everything in one app. And I also want to have a loyalty program in which I can accumulate points so that I go and do all my purchases there. I need to create the needs for customers to have a frictionless experience. Just to give you an example, with this super app, is one of the core features of a super app is a single sign-on. So you get there and you don't need to sign into another app or into another solution. It's only once a single sign-on. You get access to and pay for everything that we have there. You get access to as many solutions that we are working every day to provide to our customers. And obviously, we reward loyalty for those customers that spend the most money with us there. So that creates a lot of value. And obviously, we make sure that if we provide, for instance, a loan, so some customers get a loan there, but they ask for a loan on our app, they also can spend their money within the same ecosystem. So then you create a perfect solution because you provide the loans, and then you make sure that most of these customers, or the majority of them, as you work with them, you cross-sell other products within the same ecosystem. So that creates this kind of like we can say this flywheel effects in a way, right?
Sure. Absolutely. Well, tell me how you are getting the story out. How are you educating the public about your super app? What role has content played in the growth of Baz?
This is very, very, very interesting. One of the reasons why I came working to this company, because it's a company that is normally educating customers from a customer segment that in the past was not attended well by the big banks. Which is making sure that the people that are trying to move from one to try to prove different pathways in terms of social mobility, they sometimes are not very financially savvy. So we provide these solutions, Banco Azteca, and then obviously Baz, using this knowledge and bringing this into financial products, we go and educate these customers. We give them access to this value proposition in which they can have their money there, but they can also spend their money there in a very safe platform. So we are a very safe platform because we also have the standards of the bank, and that gives us a lot of benefits in comparison with other platforms that are normally have a lot of vulnerabilities in terms to be hacked or something. So safety for us and the perception of the app quality is the most important lever, just to make sure that the experience is good. So that takes time. And one of the things that I believe is in comparison with other digital platform players that we see as competitors is that we have physical presence, right? Because we use the banks, the physical branches, we use the retailers' branches, the physical ones, to go and educate customers. And this is one strong arm that other digital platforms, let's say Amazon or let's say Mercado Libre or other ones, don't have, because they were born 100% digital. So if they want to develop like physical operations, it takes a lot of time and a lot of know-how that sometimes can pass like 5-10 years to imitate in a way. So this is perhaps one of the most important differentiations that we have. And obviously, we're working every day to provide new solutions and find a ways to differentiate and innovate.
Excellent. Excellent. I love it. All right. Well, look a year ahead. What are some things you'd like to be celebrating personally and professionally?
I think it has to be, particularly, I don't like to focus on vanity metrics like, like downloads, daily active users. So since my role is in monetization, I need to focus on making the business profitable, right? To make sure that from one year to another, we increase our revenue more than, 200, 300, 400%, right? We increase the average revenue per user, right? Or the purchase ticket per user. We make sure that customers start moving and purchasing from different lines of business, right? So if they started making like a utility bill payment or something, now they are also buying something on the e-commerce section. Now they are consuming something on the entertainment section. Now they are sending money from the US to Mexico, for instance. So I think that's something in which I will feel very proud, and we move the needle the more that we see this value on the Supra, moving customers in these cross-selling tactics, deep selling tactics, and also obviously the revenue part and the profits that are obviously the most important metrics. As you may imagine, we started as a startup because we have this culture of, in a way, of a startup, and we need to also become more profitable than many other platforms in the business. I just saw the news, in terms of GAAP accountability principles, like Uber became profitable just last quarter after more than 12 years in the market, right? So we don't want the same story. We are in different times right now where we don't have as much liquidity in the markets as it used to be. So that makes us put monetization an important role in making sure that we take decisions that are actually customers willing to pay for, and that we can monetize and capture value as soon as possible, and not wait for good hopes that you're gonna get to raise prices in the future. That is not allowed these days.
Excellent. All right. Well, please tell everyone where they can find Baz, what your URL is, and what social media outlets you're using these days as well.
You can find on the website, which is bhc.app. This is our website. You can find all our value proposition there. You can obviously download our app on different app stores from the iOS or in the Google Play. You can also follow us on social media. We're Instagram or we're Facebook. You just type Baz Supra and you're gonna find us. We have different media channels in which we are always delivering promotions. We like our customers because they are very focused on extracting the most value that we can provide with them. And obviously one of the big benefits that we have is that we obviously getting customers to be very attached with the different loyalty levers and promotion that we have. So yeah, stay tuned. And I think it's definitely an interesting challenge in which I see that eventually the US, you're going to start listening more about super apps or everyday apps, particularly from Elon Musk and PayPal and others, or Chime or others are moving towards that direction. So yeah, I'm happy to be working in this, and let's see how it goes.
Excellent. Alexander Guerra of Baz, I wish you and yours all the best in the future. Thank you for spending some time with us today. Un placer conocerte.
Thank you so much for the invite, Andrew, and hasta la próxima. Till next time.